I woke up to 43 missed calls and just as many voicemails from numbers I hadn't seen in 7 years. For a moment, I thought something terrible had happened, but as I started listening, the messages didn't sound like panic, they sounded like something else. Some were emotional, almost desperate. Others carried a quiet blame I recognized instantly. After all this time, their voices still knew exactly how to pull at me. But as I kept listening, the story they told didn't match the one I lived. To understand why we have to go back. 7 years ago, everything collapsed over something I didn't do. A situation spiraled quickly, and before I could even process it, the blame had already been placed on me. My sibling told their version first, and that was the version everyone accepted without question. My parent, who had always been the loudest voice in the room, didn't ask for my side. They decided. And just like that, I went from being part of the family to being the problem they needed to distance themselves from. I remember trying to explain, trying to defend myself, but every word felt like it only confirmed what they already believed. The silence that followed wasn't mutual, it was imposed. At the time, I thought losing them was the worst thing that could happen. But the truth is, that moment didn't come out of nowhere. Growing up, there were roles none of us ever questioned, even if we felt them. My sibling was the easy one, the agreeable, dependable, almost untouchable version of what our family wanted to see. I was different. I asked questions, pushed back, noticed things that didn't quite add up, and somehow that made me the difficult one. It wasn't always obvious. On the surface, we looked like a normal family, but underneath there were patterned small moments where my concerns were dismissed, where my reactions were labeled as overreactions, where my siblings' behavior was quietly excused. Conflicts didn't get resolved, they got redirected, usually toward me. At the time, I thought I was just more sensitive. Looking back, the signs were always there, I just didn't have the distance to see them. As I kept listening, the pattern started to shift. At first, the messages sounded scattered, emotional, even sincere. But the more I paid attention, the more they began to contradict each other. One voicemail said they missed me, another implied I had abandoned them. Some sounded carefully worded, almost rehearsed, like they'd been discussed beforehand. That's when it clicked, this wasn't spontaneous. Something had triggered this wave of contact, and it wasn't just regret. I started noticing subtle hints about things going wrong, about people asking questions about situations that didn't make sense without me there. It felt less like they wanted me back, and more like they needed me back for a reason they weren't saying. This wasn't about fixing things, it was about fixing their version of me. And once I saw that everything about my past started to make sense, once I understood what those messages were really about, everything shifted. My absence hadn't just been emotional, it had created consequences they couldn't control. The image they had built, the version of events they had been telling it, was starting to crack without me there to carry the blame. And for the first time, I could see it clearly. What I had experienced was just a single betrayal. It was a pattern, something much bigger than that one moment 7 years ago. It reframed everything I thought I knew about my role in that family. For the first time, I wasn't questioning myself. I was questioning everything they ever told me. And that realization left me with one unavoidable question. I thought about calling back, about finally confronting everything they said and everything they left out. Part of me wanted answers, something clear and undeniable. But I also knew how those conversations used to go, how easily things would twist, how quickly I'd end up doubting myself again. Staying silent felt different this time. It wasn't avoidance. It was a choice. I could protect what I had built without them. Sometimes closure doesn't come from answers, it comes from choosing not to engage. And that's the decision I had to make. In the end, those voicemails didn't pull me back, they grounded me. They reminded me why I left and how much clarity distance had given me. I'm not the person they remember, and I don't need to be. Not every call deserves an answer, and not every family deserves access to you.